Brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, Brother Tan Ho Soon has asked me to give a talk on the qualities of a wise man today. Firstly, a wise man is you can consider it from the worldly point of view and the Buddhist point of view. And these two views are very different. So today we will consider the Buddhist point of view. Worldly point of view might be if you are a billionaire, you are a wise man. If you can cheat people of $1 million, you are a wise man, but not the Buddhist way. Now, in the suttas, the Buddha said that a fool cannot recognize a wise man, and a fool also cannot recognize a fool. But a wise man can recognize a fool, and a wise man can recognize a wise man. Why is it so? Because a fool does not know what are the qualities of a wise man and what are the qualities of a fool. But a wise man knows. So hopefully after this talk, we will all be wise. That's what the Dhamma is for, to make us wise. A lot of things we don't know, the Dhamma teaches us. In the Mangala Sutta, it is stated, Asevana cha balanang pandita nancha sevana puja cha pujaniyanang etam mangala muttamang. Not to associate with fools, to associate with the wise. To honor those worthy of honor, this is the highest blessing. So the Buddha is telling us not to associate with fools, but with wise men. Why is this so? Because our friends influence us, especially when we are young. As they say, birds of the same feather flock together. There is a doctor who told me he has several brothers, and two of his brothers are drug addicts. So he told me he was very lucky. His peers showed him the way. So today he's a successful doctor, whereas two of his brothers became drug addicts. So peers are very important. Elders who advise us, who lead us, our teachers, our elders. In the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 129, there is a sutta called Bala Pandita Sutta, Fools and Wise Men. This is a sutta that talks a lot about fools and wise men. And there the Buddha said, a fool is recognized by three things, and a wise man is recognized by three things. A wise man thinks good thoughts, speaks good words, and does good deeds, whereas a fool does evil thoughts, evil words, and evil deeds. Good thoughts are wholesome thoughts, compassionate thoughts, kind thoughts. Thinking good about other people, not thinking to harm other people. And then good words are beneficial words, words that help other people. For example, the Dhamma. The Dhamma is the most helpful. Words of Dhamma are the most helpful. Because in the suttas, the Buddha said, the highest gift is the gift of the Dhamma. Later you will also understand why. Also, gentle words, likable words, good words. And good deeds are helpful deeds, helping other people. These three things, thoughts, words, and actions or deeds, are the three karmas. And these three karmas, you can consider there are 10 things in there. Concerning the body, you can do evil with your body in 3 ways. That is to kill, to steal, and to engage in sexual misconduct. That is 3 evil body karmas. So the reverse is the 3 good karmas. You don't kill, you don't steal, you don't engage in sexual misconduct. And then the 4 evil verbal karmas are lying, divisive talk. That means, say like being a batu api. You listen to A talking bad about B, and then another day you tell B, A said this and this and this. So you cause people to quarrel and all that. So you divide people. That is the second type of evil speech. The third is coarse speech, vulgar speech, Kong Chao Wa. So this is the third one. And then the fourth one is idle gossip, talking too much, cakap banyak. So wasting time. Time is very precious, especially as we are getting older. Time is very precious. So the 10 good karmas are very important. We do 10 good karmas, we are wise. If we do the 10 evil karmas, we are foolish because we will suffer for it, either now or later. In the Anguttara Nikaya 4.186, the Buddha said, a man of great wisdom does not harm himself, does not harm others, does not harm both. He thinks only of his own welfare, the welfare of others, the welfare of both, and the welfare of the whole world. Now in this Bala Pandita Sutta, another thing that is mentioned is that the wise man feels pleasure and joy here and now. Why? Because of his good karma. And because he has not done evil, he has no remorse. Remorse is something that is very harmful. Nowadays people go into depression because of remorse. So this is sometimes seen in newborn babies. Newborn babies, if you have a baby that is always smiling and laughing, you know he has got very good karma. But there are some babies crying all the time, cry baby. They probably came from not a very good place. The third thing that is mentioned in this Bala Pandita Sutta is that the wise man is free from fear. Free from fear because he is blameless. He has not done evil, so he is not afraid. So for example, if you are in your residential area and then a lot of police suddenly come, you are not a criminal or something, you won't be afraid, isn't it? But if you've got something to hide, then you're afraid. So also in the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 115, the Buddha said, all fears arise in the fool, not in the wise man. So a foolish person, because of having done evil, is afraid all the time. The fourth thing mentioned in the Bala Pandita Sutta is that a wise person will have a good rebirth. There are 5 destinations of rebirth that await us when we die. Later books talk about 6 destinations, Liu, Tao, Lun, Hui. Yeah? But original Buddhism talk about 5. And these 5 consist of 2 happy destinations and 3 woeful planes. The 2 happy is human rebirth and heavenly rebirth. And woeful destination is to be born as a ghost, an animal, or in hell. Okay? So wise person will be reborn as a human being or as a deva or devi. In fact, in this sutta, it is said that if a person falls into hell, he's a perfect fool. If a person goes to heaven, he is a perfectly wise man. Because the Buddha said, life is like a gamble. So this perfect fool, he goes to Genting Highland or to Sentosa Casino. He brings all his money there to gamble, hoping that he'll become a millionaire or a billionaire. And then in that one night, he loses all his money. And the Buddha says he gets himself into slavery, becomes a slave. And then even his wife and children he loses. So this is a perfect fool, isn't it? Never gambled before, suddenly gambled and lost everything. So life is a gamble. We come into this life. We also bring our capital, our punji. That is our blessings, the blessings we bring into life. And if you are a wise person, when you die, you will have more blessings than before. So you go to a better place. But the fool will use up all his blessings and not create more blessings, and he'll go for a bad rebirth. So the result of being a wise man, you go for a good rebirth. In another sutta, it is said that most human beings, after we die, we go into woeful plains of rebirth. And the reason is because of two things that they don't practice. Dana and sila. Dana is charity or generosity. That means the willingness to help other people, the willingness to help other beings, having a kind heart. And the second one is sila. Sila is not to harm others, refraining from harming others. So you have 7 precepts actually that are very important. These 7 precepts are called the Aryan precepts. A lot of people think that if you keep the 5 precepts, you can go for a good rebirth, but not 5 precepts, but 7, because Aryan precepts are found in the Noble Eightfold Path, consisting of right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And you investigate these 3 factors, there are 7 precepts there. 3 body precepts: not to kill, not to steal, not to engage in sexual misconduct. And verbal is 4, as I mentioned just now: not to lie, not to engage in divisive speech, not to engage in vulgar or coarse speech, not to engage in idle gossip. So these 7 precepts are extremely important. So these 2 things, if a person does these 2 things, charity and uphold the 7 precepts to a lesser degree, you will be reborn as a human being with not so good karma, not so lucky. If you keep these 2 things to a medium degree, you'll be born as a human being with a medium, medium level of livelihood. If you do these 2 things to a higher degree, you'll be born with a lot of good luck. So dana and sila is a very basic. If you want to go to heaven, then bhavana, siu heng, siu sing is also needed, because siu sing, siu heng basically is siu lui heng ui. This word bhavana means development. And a lot of people like to think that bhavana is meditation. Bhavana is not only meditation. Bhavana is development of your mind, development of your character. And it involves listening to the Buddha suttas, the Buddha's words, and then meditating to get the strength of mind to do what you should do and not to do what you should not do. And then the third thing is to observe your maoping, your maopeng, all your faults, all your bad habits, and change your bad habits. So the most important thing is to change your bad habits, change your character, develop your character, develop your mind so that you become an elevated person, a higher person. Because the Buddha says, if you want to go to heaven, it's not by liam omitahut, The Buddha says, you want to go to heaven, right now you must change your character to be the character of a Deva or a Devi, then only you are qualified to go to heaven. You cannot bribe heaven by saying Amitavut. So that is the way. Now, the fifth thing this Bala Pandita Sutta says is if you come back for a wise man, if you come back later as a human being, you'll be born into a high and wealthy family. It'll be good to look at, and you'll have a good life, well endowed. So these are the 5 things that a wise person gets. Just now we said a wise person does. He thinks good thoughts, he speaks good words, and he does good deeds. And the second characteristic is a wise man feels pleasure and joy here and now. The third, he is free from fear. The fourth, he has a good rebirth in the next life. And the fifth is when he comes back in future as a human rebirth, he'll be well endowed. Now there are the suttas that talk about the wise man. Anguttara Nikaya 2.99 says that a wise man carries his own burden, his own duties. He does not carry others' burdens. So when we go through life, all of us have our duties, our burden to perform. When we are young, we have to prepare to be a good adult. So our parents tell us that you must study well so that in future you have an easier life. So the foolish boy will not want to study, he wants to lepak. And then waste his time, mix with friends who smoke and all that. Then later he has to work as a coolie, do very hard work, and get very little money for it. So that is, and then when you are young, you have to learn to be obedient, to study, and all that. And then as you become an adult, you have worldly duties to do. Yeah, you have a family to take care of, either your own family or your siblings or your relatives, your parents, grandparents to take care of. These are the duties of an adult that you have to perform because you have received from your parents, you must give back. That's only fair, isn't it? Because later you will become old yourself. And if you treat your parents well, in future your children will treat you well. Now, when we are old, we have to prepare for death and future lives. That means we have to let go of our worldly duties and carry our spiritual duties. A lot of people don't realize this. A lot of people, they die in harness, keep on working until you die. And then when you're about to die, you suddenly get a shock. Why do you get a shock when you're about to die? For umpteen years you have seen people dying. Yeah, you should know that one day your turn will come, isn't it? So we have to prepare for it. A lot of people, they don't never think. A lot of people don't like to think about these things. They say, "Choi." Don't talk about old age, sick and death. But that's reality we have to face. So we have to be smart. We have to prepare, because if you prepare, then when the time comes, you will not be afraid of death. Because a wise man is well prepared. When death comes, he's not afraid. Anytime he's not afraid when death comes. So don't get too involved in worldly duties. There are some people, after taking care of so many children, they still want to take care of grandchildren. So be liao, that's not these worldly duties. After grandchildren, some more great grandchildren. So it's very, very important to prepare, because to prepare yourself for future rebirth is not overnight. Something you can do overnight. It takes many years. Xiu Heng is to change your character, change your mind. It takes many years, at least 10 years. Yeah. Now another sutta, Anguttara Nikaya 4.115. There are 4 types of actions the Buddha mentioned. pleasant but unbeneficial, and then pleasant and beneficial, and then unpleasant and unbeneficial, and unpleasant but beneficial. So the first one, pleasant but unbeneficial, a lot of worldly people will chase after, like going to karaoke, sexual misconduct, hunting, fishing. This is a worldly way to enjoy yourself as much as you can because it is pleasant. But the wise man will not do it because it is unbeneficial. In other words, it's harmful to you in the end. Yeah. So worldly people, kia ai lo si thao ti boi kho, yeah, xin tim hao fu, yeah. But people who are wise will walk the way that is tao kho boi ti, yeah. So the second one, pleasant and beneficial. A lot of people will want to do because it's pleasant. And things like physical exercise to make yourself fit, doing charity, doing social work, and all these things. That is good. The third one is unpleasant and unbeneficial. Like there are some fanatics in some religions. They go through these ascetic practices, ku sing, ko hing. They torture themselves. In India, you have some of these yogis, they hold up their hand. They can hold up their hand 1 year, 10 years. But after that, cannot bring it down. And then every day got pain. So that is unbeneficial. But because of wrong view, they do that. They think it's actually beneficial. So it's very pitiful. They're very sincere, but a bit bodoh. Now the last one is unpleasant but beneficial. For example, a student studying for exam. It's not very pleasant, but it's beneficial, so he has to do it. And then the spiritual path, especially to keep your sila, samadhi, panya, that is hard work. A lot of people won't walk that way, but because it is unpleasant. But a wise man, because he sees, even though it is unpleasant, it is beneficial, he will do it. So these are the 4 types of actions that distinguish a fool from a wise man. Now, there is an important sutta concerning karma in Anguttara Nikaya, I think 5.43. There the Buddha said, there are several things in the world that everybody wants. We want to be born beautiful. We want to be rich. We want to have a happy life. We want to have a long life. And after we pass away, we want to go to heaven. Everybody wants this, isn't it? But the Buddha said, these things that we want, we cannot get them by praying. We cannot get them by making vows. We cannot get them crying out loud for them. We cannot get them even though we think of them every day. Because the Buddha said, if we can get them, why is there so much suffering in the world? You can imagine beings in hell every day being tortured. They are crying out for hell. Who is helping? Nobody is helping them. So, for example, in Syria, now the war is going on. The people there are suffering so much. Every day they pray for help. Who is helping them? Nobody is helping them. So, the Buddha gave some examples to make us understand how vows by themselves do not work. So the Buddha said, suppose a person wanted oil. So a wise person will get sesame seeds and he will grind the sesame seeds and he gets oil. But the neighbor, foolish fellow, looking from far, he thinks he wants to get oil also. He puts sand and he grinds the sand. Can he get? He prays to Kuan Yin, so he won't get. And he grinds for 1 year, 10 years or so, he'll never get. He prays for it, he makes vows and all that, he'll never get it. Why? Because he's doing the wrong thing. So the Buddha, that's why the Buddha said, vows alone does not get us what we want. We have to work for it and do things the right way, the smart way. Another example the Buddha gave is that somebody wanted butter. So he took milk and he churned the milk, keep on churning, and the milk slowly becomes butter. Yeah, but a foolish fellow, he takes water and keeps churning the water. 10 years or so he won't get. Yeah, so that's because he didn't do the right thing. So it is very important to do the right thing, and you can only do the right thing if you are taught the right way. The other thing I like to say is that the human life is very, very important, because in the human life, of all the 5 destinations of rebirth, we do the most karma in the human realm. Thao gao king, xiao tang, xiao sai. Thinking all the time, I want to do this, want to do that. So, because we keep thinking and doing this, doing that, we create a lot of karma. And this karma that we create now will decide the next few lifetimes. Not just one lifetime, but many other lifetimes. Because in the other realms, you do little karma. If a person is reborn as a cow, he keeps eating grass the whole day, he doesn't think so much. Yeah. So they don't do much karma. Ghosts also, every night go out and just cry, look for food, eat all the dirty corpses and all that by the roadside, and keep on crying. They don't use their thinking mind. So humans, we do a lot of karma. So we have to be very, very careful. Now, samsara is very scary because of what? Because of the 3 woeful planes. If we are reborn as a human being or as a deva or devi, then samsara is very pleasant, isn't it? But it's because of the 3 woeful planes that are very frightening. Some people, they have this yam yong ngan, they can see ghosts. Then you ask them, they can tell you, very scary. But then even if they don't tell you, if you have a nightmare and you have a nightmare where you are chased by ghosts, how do you feel? Very frightening, isn't it? So imagine if you are reborn as in the ghost realm, it's very, very frightening. And then as an animal, animals, why it's even more fearful, because the Buddha said, if you are caught by a bigger animal, you'll be eaten alive. Imagine your skin is torn out from you, your flesh is torn out for you, and you're crying in pain before you die. That's why animals live in great fear. You see the bird come down to the ground to eat also, one peck and he look left, one peck and he look right, looking left and right all the time. Very scared. So the worst is hell. Description of hell is given in the suttas. How you are tortured in hell. It's terrible. You are a fugitive in hell. Keep running, trying to escape from the hell beings who torture you. But every now and then you get caught. So the smart thing to do in life is what? To find a way never to be reborn as a ghost or an animal or go to hell. And luckily there is a way. If there is not a way, then we'll be suffering forever. Now, in the Samyutta Nikaya 55.62 up to 74, it is said that there are 4 factors that lead to great wisdom, that lead to vast wisdom, that lead to unequal wisdom. And what are these 4? First one is association with true men. Secondly, hearing the true Dhamma. The third is yoniso manasikara. And the fourth is practice in accordance with the Dhamma.